All right. Well, thank you, Harris. Indeed, the president is continuing to explain why he did what he did and has already signed what he did, essentially 2 executive orders that effectively delay, if not outright cancel deportation for upwards of 5 million illegals. Well, as he's talking, I want you to meet the sheriff who is suing, because get ready. This deportation thing, it is officially exploding. Welcome, everybody. I'm Neil Cavuto. Inside Dallas High School in Las Vegas, the president rallying support for an immigration plan that is not being greeted so favorably outside that building. Tea Party protesters ripping him for it, blasting the president for shielding up to 5 million illegals, and they say putting them in the front of the line and hurting those who are legally going through the process to become American citizens. To the sheriff who's actually suing over that very issue, Joe Arpaio of Maricopa County, Arizona. Sheriff, why sue?
Where else can you go? Right now, Congress is not doing anything. It's all politics, so why not go through the court system? My attorney is handling that.
All right. Now, what will be the gist of your suit, Sheriff?
Well, you know, I go back to a story I broke with you many months ago when I said we have 4,000 inmates in our jails, illegal aliens charged with many different crimes, including attempted murder, and the government picks them up from us. They're supposed to be deported, but they keep coming back 15, 20 times, coming back to the jail. So are they being let out on the streets of Maricopa County? Are they being deported? And if they are, how can they keep coming back so many times? So that's a big issue. It's a public safety issue, and I can't seem to get anybody to look into it.
You know, Sheriff, in the meantime, I can't seem to get consistent numbers on the deportations that we have seen. The president said they picked up under his presidency, that we have seen much tighter enforcement, that part of the legislation that both parties were looking at some years back included doubling enforcement provisions along the border. Is that true?
You know what? You know, I worked that border. I think you know it, on both sides for 15 years. You're never going to secure the border 100%. Now, if he says we're going to concentrate on those crossing the border, maybe he ought to throw them in jail. It is a violation of the law. That might be a deterrence. On the other hand, at least he's looking into the problem in the interior, but he's not doing it correctly, giving amnesty to 5 million people. By the way, how do you keep track of 5 million people? He can't even keep track of the criminals when they're released from jail where they're at. So that's a really, really serious problem, how to keep track of them. And that's what concerns me, along with the issues of fairness. He's talking about fairness. By the way, instead of talking to all those people in Vegas, he ought to be talking to Congress. But fairness, what about all the millions of people that come into our country? They wait for years to get here, and they do it the right way, and now how do you think they feel when you're giving a get-out-of-jail card free to these 5 million people?
Now, he argues, and we're going to talk to, someone who's going through that legal process, to your point, and very, exasperated by all of this. But the president has indicated this is not amnesty. This just delays deportation for people to not immediately be kicked out of here, but a pathway to citizenship. Do you buy that?
I don't buy that. Still, why is he giving a pass to these people right now? Why just after the election? I mean, this is all politics, Neil. And I don't like to get into the political field, but that's what it sounds like. It is. And why play politics? This is a very serious issue. It's been before us for years. 100 days after Obama took office, he launched a Department of Justice investigation against me and my office. It's still going. So why? If I'm the poster boy, I think I have a right to fight back.
Now you've got this suit. The governor-elect of Texas is promising something similar. Arizona's been kicking it around. That is the state. I guess what I have to ask you is, how does the president stick to this plan? And that I think he has said, Sheriff, that if you've been in this country 5 years or more, you could apply for this. You could be part of this program to delay these deportations. But again, these are a lot of folks who don't have any paperwork, who sometimes have fixed or rigged documents. So wouldn't it be in their interest, or anyone's interest, to just say, hell, I've been here more than 5 years. Yeah, that's it. I've been here more than 5 years, when in fact they could have just come last week.
I'm going to have to beef up my fraud bureau. You know, we arrest people by the hundreds in the workplace with fake ID, violation of the state laws. So we're going to have a lot of fun with fake documents, and I don't see how he can keep up with it unless he enlists the services of local cops like they used to do. Let us help the government, deputize us, give us federal authority if you have to. But let's bring in the local cops, because we can work with them and get this problem solved.
You know, part of these provisions include deporting the ones who are truly dangerous. In other words, murderers need not apply, burglars need not apply, but you've dealt with just those types, and you give them to you know, immigration officials, and they then miraculously turn up in your jails yet again. So how sure or confident are you that this will have any sticking power to it?
No, he's gonna make it even less. He's not going to deport those DUIs and other serious crimes. Now he's saying only gang bangers and all that. He's up the level here. So he wants all these criminals to get a pass.
But how would we know? I guess, Sheriff, that's what I'm showing my ignorance here of the process. But how do we know the background if we don't even know for sure, you know, where a lot of them come from? And then in the case of these 68,000, 80,000 kids who came earlier in the summer, apparently just a blip to the White House, but obviously a significant number, part of a blip. And that when many of them had return court dates, family members had return court dates, they never show up.
Well, you know, you're right in a way, because how do you know unless you get them certified in the jail system at least, because you sure can't ask them anymore on the streets, and if you do, you can't do anything with them because ICE will not pick them up. So they're given a free pass. So it is more convoluted, Neil, than the public may think when they start looking at what the ramifications will be with his new programs.
Do you think that there's a serious danger that even if you're not among the 5 million whose deportation could be delayed, that if you're an illegal and you're here, unless you're a hatchet murderer, and even to your point, there's no guarantee with that you're not going to be deported, that you needn't worry about that anymore, that whether you're part of this initial 5 million or not, illegals who are here can rest assured they can stay here?
Yeah. What about all the people that will be coming into our country now because they believe what the president is saying? They believe it's amnesty. They believe they're going to get away with it. So we're going to be flooded with more people coming into our country because of the president speaking out and giving the impression that at least 5 million people will be given a pass. That's a big problem coming up.
All right, you mentioned how this became a political football, and if you'll indulge me with one more question. The president of the White House always said, look, Republicans come up with a plan, a bill of their own. It addresses all the issues I've addressed here. I'll sign it. That would supersede whatever I'm doing here. What do you make of that, and what Republicans then have to do now?
Well, I'll tell you one thing. The Republicans can come up with a plan, but he'll probably take his veto pen out and veto half of it anyway. So we have to look forward to 2016, make sure it is a change, get a new president in there that will really do something instead of talking all the time. That may be our only hope. I don't want to be, you know, I don't want to be optimistic. I do want to be optimistic, but I'm pessimistic right now, Neil.
You know, do you find it odd, too?
Really don't believe it.
I'm sorry, Sheriff. Do you find it odd that the Justice Department is chasing you down and dragging you into court, and essentially giving a pass to the illegals whose job it is, your job it is, to round up?
Yeah, I don't know. I know way back 6 years ago was political right after he took office, but you know, I'm still around, chief law enforcement officer for the county. I'm still going to do the best I can for the 4 million people that live in my county. So that's the best I can do. I have a great organization, and we're going to keep fighting. We're going to keep doing our job.
If you fail with this lawsuit, then what?
Well, you know what? You know I'm a senior citizen. I'll probably be 95 years old before they solve this lawsuit. What are you kidding? But it may send a message.
What a dumb question on my part. Sheriff, thank you very, very much. Good seeing you.
Thank you.
All right, in the meantime, in the middle of this, look at this. Look at this. A lot of green arrows across the board. Why? What if I told you those green arrows, they're going to stick you in the heart? Now, I'm not raining on this parade, only to make a point. The reasons behind it might disturb you because it's all built on something, well, it's not good.